There's a room in your mind you've never fully entered. It's the room where a child still sits, waiting, watching, wondering if there'll ever be enough. Some of you felt it the moment I said those words. A tightening in your chest. A memory you can't quite name but can definitely feel. Picture 3 children, different homes, different families, but they share something most people will never see. Because what marks these children isn't visible. No bruises, no broken bones, no obvious trauma. The first child sits at a dinner table. When he speaks, the warmth drains from the room. He learns quickly. His presence is a disruption. He is the hated child. The second child sits at the edge of a playground, watching the world spin around her, building an interior universe so rich that the outside world seems shallow by comparison. She is the quiet child. The third child's parents provide everything, except emotional validation. When she cries, they say, "You're fine." When she's scared, "Stop being dramatic." She learns her inner world is inconvenient. She is the emotionally neglected child. 3 children, 3 different forms of invisibility. But these children don't stay children. They grow up. They become the adults sitting next to you. The friend who always says they're fine. The partner who can't let you in. They become you. Because childhood doesn't end when you turn 18. It echoes. It shapes every relationship, every decision, every moment of self-doubt for the rest of your life. Over the next hour, we're going to trace how rejection becomes identity, how silence becomes loneliness, how neglect rewires the nervous system, and most importantly, whether these patterns can ever be broken. This isn't just psychology. This is archaeology of the soul. If you've ever felt like you're performing rather than living, if connection feels impossible even when you crave it, if you're lonely in crowded rooms, this is for you. Let's begin. The dinner table. Marcus is 7 years old and he's learned to make himself small. His sister Emma talks about her soccer goal. Their mother's face lights up. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." His brother James mentions his B+. Their father nods approvingly. "Good work, son." Marcus watches like an anthropologist studying a foreign culture. He sees the warmth. He sees the encouragement. He just doesn't understand why it never flows in his direction. He waits for a pause. His heart beats faster. He drew a picture in art class today. His teacher said it was creative. "Mom, today in art class..." His mother's expression shifts, subtle. A tightening around her eyes, an almost imperceptible exhale. "Not now, Marcus. Let your sister finish." But Emma was finished. There was space. But when Marcus tried to enter it, it became an intrusion. He goes back to moving food around his plate. The knot in his stomach has taken up all the room. This is the hated child. And here's the insidious part. It's often not about hate at all. These parents would be shocked if accused of hating their child. They provide for Marcus. They keep him clothed and fed. But love is not just the absence of harm. Love is presence, warmth, genuine delight. And when that delight is selectively distributed, the unloved child doesn't think, "My parents are flawed." They think, "I am flawed." The psychology of rejection. Dr. John Bowlby's attachment theory proves a fundamental truth. A child's first bonds form the blueprint for all future relationships. Warm bonds create secure attachment. Children who believe the world is safe, people are trustworthy, and they themselves are worthy. Cold or hostile bonds create insecure attachment, a deep neurological expectation that love will always be conditional, uncertain, just out of reach. The hated child often isn't hated everywhere. Sometimes only at home. They might excel at school, in sports. But the moment they walk through their front door, they feel it. The temperature drops. Dr. Susan Forward calls this the fundamental doubt. The child questions their own perception. Am I imagining this? Maybe I really am the problem. This doubt becomes a cornerstone of their psychology. They learn not to trust their feelings, not to trust their experiences. That distrust follows them everywhere. The comparison wound. Marcus is 10 now. Emma got accepted into a prestigious summer camp. There's cake, hugs, talk of how proud they are. Marcus watches from the stairs, holding a certificate. Second place in the science fair. Weeks of work. His teacher was impressed. Mom, Dad, Marcus, we're celebrating Emma's achievement right now. Can it wait? It always can wait. And by the time it's his turn, everyone's tired. The enthusiasm has been spent. He puts the certificate in his desk drawer, closes it. Somewhere deep in his developing brain, a message is being written. I don't matter. When love is unevenly distributed among siblings, the child notices everything. Who gets praised? Who gets forgiveness? Who gets the benefit of the doubt? Studies show children are acutely aware of differential treatment. They feel it in their nervous system, and that feeling gets encoded as truth. The hated child develops hypervigilance, constantly scanning for rejection, always preparing for dismissal. This helped them navigate childhood, but it follows them into adulthood. The lens of childhood becomes the lens of adulthood. The adult Marcus. Marcus is 32, successful software engineer, has friends, dates. On paper, fine, but watch closely. In meetings, he speaks last. Always, even when he knows he's right. Sometimes by the time he speaks, someone else has already said it. He nods along, letting them take credit. In relationships, Marcus tries harder. Texts first, plans dates, remembers everything. But he picks partners who are distant, critical, partners who treat him with the same energy his parents did. His therapist calls this repetition compulsion. The brain gravitates toward what feels familiar, even when familiar is painful. One night, Marcus tells his girlfriend Sarah about a breakthrough at work. She's scrolling on her phone. That's cool, she says, not looking up. Marcus feels it, that familiar tightening. He's 7 again, trying to share his art project while his mother's attention is elsewhere. He doesn't say anything. Instead, he asks Sarah about her day, makes her comfortable. Because that's what Marcus knows, how to earn love through service. What he doesn't know is how to expect love as a given. The compensatory strategies. Many hated children develop what psychologists call compensatory strategies, mechanisms to earn denied love. The perfectionist. They believe achievement will make them worthy. Straight A's, awards, corporate ladders. But no matter how high they climb, unworthiness remains. The wound isn't about achievement. It's about acceptance. The people pleaser. They mold themselves into whatever might gain approval. Helpful, accommodating, selfless to a fault. But underneath, if I wasn't useful, would anyone want me? The rebel. Some go the opposite direction. If they can't be loved, they'll be powerful. Rejection becomes armor. But this too responds to the original wound. All 3 strategies share the same foundation. I am not acceptable as I am. Dr. Kristen Neff's research shows these children develop contingent self-worth, value based entirely on external validation. But external validation is like filling a cup with a hole in the bottom. It always empties. The biology of rejection. When a child experiences rejection, their nervous system interprets it as a survival threat. Stress hormones flood the body. Cortisol, adrenaline. When rejection is chronic, something changes. The stress response becomes the baseline. Harvard research shows chronic childhood rejection reshapes brain architecture. The amygdala becomes hyperactive, always scanning for threat. The prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions, becomes less active. Adults rejected as children struggle with emotional regulation. Small rejections feel catastrophic. Hypervigilance, constantly scanning for signs they're unwanted. Difficulty trusting. If earliest bonds were unreliable, all bonds seem unreliable. Physical health issues. Chronic stress increases risk of heart disease, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain. The hated child carries biological scars. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. The paradoxical gift. But the hated child also develops gifts. Hypervigilance makes them exceptionally perceptive. They read rooms with uncanny accuracy. Notice micro-expressions others miss. Many become extraordinarily empathetic. Because they know invisibility, they see others who feel the same. They extend the warmth they never received. Their resilience is remarkable. They've survived environments that would break others. The question isn't whether they're strong. They are. The question is, what would they have become if they never had to be? The turning point. Marcus is 35, in therapy for the first time. "Tell me about your childhood," his therapist asks. Marcus shrugs. "It was fine, normal. My parents weren't abusive, they just had their favorites." "When you say favorites, what do you mean?" Marcus hesitates. First time anyone's asked him to articulate this. "My sister could do no wrong. My brother was the golden child, and I was just there. Not hit, not yelled at, just tolerated. Tolerated, not celebrated." Something cracks open in Marcus's chest. "Yeah," he whispers. "Tolerated. That's exactly it." The wound is often invisible. No dramatic moments to point to. Just an absence. A coldness. A consistent message. You are less than. Because there's no obvious proof, the hated child doubts their experience. Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm just sensitive. This self-doubt is gaslighting. It persists for decades. Dr. Jonas Webb makes this clear. The absence of something can be as damaging as the presence of harm. Sometimes worse, because at least overt abuse is visible. But when the wound is an absence, what you didn't get, it's harder to name. Breaking the pattern. Marcus is 37, 2 years into therapy, dating someone new, Lisa. Lisa is kind, attentive, interested. When Marcus talks, she listens. When he shares accomplishments, she celebrates. At first, it made Marcus deeply uncomfortable. He kept waiting for coldness. His nervous system screamed, "This doesn't feel right." But his therapist reminded him, "Sometimes healthy feels wrong because you're used to dysfunction feeling normal." One evening, cooking dinner together, Marcus shares a funny work story. Lisa laughs, a real laugh. "I love the way you tell stories. You notice details other people miss." Marcus stops chopping vegetables. "Really? Really?" And for the first time, Marcus doesn't deflect, doesn't minimize, just smiles and says, "Thank you." Small moment, but revolutionary. He's letting himself be seen, be appreciated, believe that maybe he's worthy of love simply for being himself. Pause. This is healing for the hated child. Not dramatic. Just small moments of allowing themselves to be valued. Choosing relationships that feel unfamiliar but healthy. Recognizing that the voice saying they're unworthy was lying. The hated child begins life marked by rejection. But rejection need not be the final story. You were never the problem. You were a child who deserved love and didn't receive it. that wasn't a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their limitation. And now you have a choice. Continue the pattern, choosing people who can't see you, working endlessly to earn love that should be freely given. Or choose differently. Choose to see yourself clearly, to surround yourself with people who celebrate you, not just tolerate you. To understand the blueprint formed in childhood can be redrawn. The hated child doesn't have to stay hated. They just have to finally receive what they always deserved: unconditional acceptance. And sometimes, that acceptance has to start with themselves, the observer. Sarah is 9 years old, sitting at the edge of the playground. If you asked her why she's sitting alone, she wouldn't say she's lonely. She'd say she's watching. Because to Sarah, the world is more interesting observed from a distance. From her spot beneath the oak tree, Sarah sees everything. How groups form and dissolve. Who holds power? The girl who pretends to laugh because she's desperate to belong. The boy who pushes others to hide his fear of being pushed. Sarah sees all of this not with judgment, but with curiosity. She's collecting data, making connections, understanding patterns the participants can't see because they're too busy performing. A teacher walks by, sees Sarah alone, assumes something is wrong. "Sarah, honey, why don't you go play with the other kids?" "I'm okay," Sarah says quietly. "Are the other kids being mean to you?" "No. I just like watching." The teacher doesn't know what to do with this answer. Children who sit alone are either being excluded or excluding themselves out of fear. The possibility that a child might prefer observation doesn't compute. "Well, if you change your mind." She walks away, and Sarah wonders, for the first time, if there's something wrong with her. This is where the quiet child's journey begins, with the subtle message that their natural temperament is a problem to be fixed. The gift and the curse. Dr. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people reveals that 15 to 20% of the population is born with nervous systems that process information more deeply. For these children, noise isn't just annoying, it's overwhelming. Crowds aren't just busy, they're exhausting. But we live in a world that values extroversion. Classrooms reward the student who raises their hand first. Workplaces promote those who speak up. The quiet child exists in a culture that fundamentally misunderstands them. Susan Cain writes, "There's a word for people who are in their heads too much, thinkers. But our culture has pathologized thinking. Reflection is seen as procrastination. Silence is seen as absence. The quiet child internalizes this message. They begin to believe their need for silence is weakness, that their preference for depth over small talk is social failing. But what if they're not deficient? What if they're operating at a depth others can't access?" Sarah is 12 now, middle school. The social pressure has intensified. She has friends. The quiet kids find each other. They have deep conversations about books, ideas, existence. These friendships feel real, substantial. But she knows that in the social hierarchy, her friendships don't count for much. The popular kids, loud, visible, always in motion, they're the ones who matter. One day in English class, the teacher asks about the protagonist's motivation. Hands shoot up immediately. Kids eager to be first, to be heard. Sarah knows the answer. She's thought deeply about this book, has insights her classmates haven't considered. But she doesn't raise her hand. Why? Because Sarah needs time to articulate her thoughts, to form precise sentences, to capture nuance. By the time she's ready to speak, 3 students have already given superficial answers. All wrong, but all delivered with confidence. The teacher moves on. Sarah's insight remains unspoken. She tells herself it's fine. But a part of her wonders if thoughts that are never spoken actually matter at all. The misreading. Quiet children are constantly misread. Their silence is mistaken for arrogance. Their solitude for rejection. their careful consideration for slowness, their depth for awkwardness. None of these interpretations are true, but the quiet child hears them enough times that they start to believe them. Dr. Jerome Kagan's studies show introverted children develop self-consciousness earlier than extroverted peers. They become aware of how they're perceived. Notice the discrepancy between internal experience and external judgment. This awareness creates a split. On the inside, they feel rich, complex, deeply engaged. On the outside, they appear withdrawn, disengaged, possibly depressed. Because we prioritize external presentation over internal experience, the outside interpretation wins. The quiet child is labeled as having a problem. But what if the shell isn't a prison? What if it's a greenhouse where rare things are growing? The adaptation. Sarah is 15. She's learned to mask, to play the part of someone more extroverted than she is. At lunch, she sits with friends. They talk about parties, drama, relationships. Sarah participates, laughs at jokes, contributes to gossip. But it feels like performance, like speaking a language she's learned but doesn't natively understand. When she gets home, she's exhausted, not from schoolwork, from the social performance, from 6 hours pretending to be someone she's not. She goes to her room, closes the door. Finally, she can breathe. She opens her journal and writes, "Sometimes I feel like I'm living two lives. The outside life where I pretend to be like everyone else, and the inside life where I actually exist. The problem is, the outside life gets all the credit, but the inside life, the real one, remains invisible. And I'm starting to wonder if a life that nobody sees actually counts as a life at all." This is the quiet child's deepest fear, that their interior world, no matter how rich, doesn't matter if it remains unseen. Our culture reinforces this fear. We measure worth by visibility, by followers, by likes, by noise. The quiet child is drowning in a world that mistakes noise for substance. The power in the silence. Research shows introverted brains are literally wired differently. Dr. Marty Olson-Laney's work reveals introverts have longer neural pathways. Information travels through more brain regions, which means processing takes more time but tends to be more thorough. Introverts have higher baseline activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area for planning and deep thinking. This is why quiet children seem in their heads. They are. Their brains are designed for contemplation. This isn't a disorder, it's a different operating system. But in a world designed for extroverts, the introverted child feels like they're running the wrong software. The result? Chronic exhaustion, anxiety, never quite fitting in, and the belief something is fundamentally wrong with them. But here's what most miss. Their silence is not empty, it's full. While extroverted children process through external interaction, quiet children process internally, making connections, drawing conclusions, building intricate mental models. This is why so many great thinkers were quiet children. Isaac Newton, Emily Dickinson, Albert Einstein, Rosa Parks, all introverts, all people who needed silence to access their deepest capabilities. The quiet child notices what others miss. They see subtle dynamics, hidden patterns, unspoken tensions. They have radar for authenticity. This perceptiveness is a profound gift, but it's also a burden. When you see things others don't, you can feel isolated, like you're living in a different reality. The adult Sarah. Sarah is 28, data analyst at a tech company. Good job. Uses her strengths, pattern recognition, deep analysis, independent work. But there's a meeting. The team is brainstorming ideas for a new product. People shout over each other, competing to be heard, throwing out half-baked ideas with complete confidence. Sarah has an idea, a good one. She spent weeks thinking about this problem. But every time she tries to speak, someone talks over her. The conversation moves too fast. Her manager notices her silence. "Sarah, you've been quiet. What do you think?" All eyes turn to her. The room goes still. Sarah feels familiar panic, pressure to perform on demand, to match the room's energy. She opens her mouth. What comes out is a watered-down version of her idea, abbreviated, missing nuance. A loud colleague immediately jumps in. "Oh yeah, kind of like what I was saying earlier." Sarah's idea gets absorbed into someone else's narrative. She doesn't correct them, just retreats back into silence. Later, her manager says, "You need to speak up more. If you don't advocate for yourself, others will get the credit." Sarah nods, promises to do better. But inside, she's screaming. The problem isn't that she doesn't have ideas. The problem is the world operates at a pace that doesn't allow for depth, that rewards speed over substance, volume over value. The transformation. But something is shifting. Sarah's been reading about introversion, discovering she's not broken, that her need for silence isn't a flaw. She starts setting boundaries. After work, instead of forcing herself to attend every happy hour, she goes home, recharges, reads, writes, engages with her interior life without guilt. She joins a writing group. 6 people, monthly meetings, thoughtful feedback. The pace is slow, deliberate. And Sarah feels, for the first time in years, like she can breathe. She advocates for herself differently, not by being louder, but by finding alternative channels, detailed emails, one-on-one conversations with her manager, leveraging writing skills to communicate complex ideas. And slowly, people notice. Not because Sarah became more extroverted, but because she found ways to make her introversion work for her. Sarah is 32 now. She's written a book, a novel about a quiet observer who sees what others miss, someone who processes deeply in a culture that rewards superficiality. 5 years of writing in quiet hours, early mornings, late nights. When published, it resonates deeply with thousands who've felt exactly what Sarah has felt, who've been told to be louder, quicker, more performative. Readers message her, "You put into words what I've felt my whole life. I finally don't feel alone. Thank you for seeing us." And Sarah realizes her quiet wasn't a weakness. It was a lens, a way of seeing that allowed her to articulate what others couldn't, not despite her quietness, because of it. The quiet child has been paying attention all along, collecting wisdom, building understanding, cultivating depth. They were never absent. We just weren't listening closely enough. In a world that keeps getting louder, the quiet ones aren't the problem. They're the solution. They're showing us another way to exist, another way to contribute, another way to matter. Not through noise, through presence. Not through performance, through authenticity. Not through speed, through depth. The quiet child was never too quiet. The world was just too loud to hear them. The invisible wound. Maya is 6 years old. She just had a nightmare, a bad one. Monsters in her closet. Darkness swallowing her whole. She runs to her parents' room, pushes open the door. "Mom? Dad? I had a bad dream." Her father barely looks up from his phone. "Go back to bed, Maya. You're fine." "But I'm scared." "There's nothing to be scared of. It's just a dream. Now go back before you wake up your brother." Maya stands in the doorway, waiting, hoping for a hug, for one of them to check the closet, to tell her everything's okay. But they're already back to their phones. She's been dismissed. Maya walks back alone, climbs into bed, stares at the dark closet. The fear hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it's worse. Because not only is she afraid of monsters, she's confused about why her parents don't care. She pulls the covers over her head and whispers to herself what her parents didn't say. It's okay. You're safe. Everything's going to be fine. This is emotional neglect, one of the most invisible, most damaging forms of childhood trauma. What is emotional neglect? Dr. Jonas Webb defines emotional neglect as a parent's failure to respond enough to a child's emotional needs. It's not about what the parent does. It's about what they don't do. It happens when a child's feelings are regularly dismissed or invalidated. Parents are physically present but emotionally absent. A child learns their emotions are inconvenient. Parents provide for physical needs but ignore emotional ones. The insidious thing? It's defined by absence. No bruise to show. No dramatic incident. Just a slow erosion of the child's belief that their feelings matter. Psychologist Alice Miller wrote, "The child who is not allowed to feel becomes an adult who doesn't know who they are." The learning process. Maya is 8. At recess, she's been left out of a game. It stings. She feels the tightness in her chest, tears coming. She goes to her teacher. "Miss Anderson, the other kids won't let me play." The teacher barely looks up. "I'm sure they'll let you play next time. Go find something else to do." No validation, no comfort, just dismissal. Maya sits alone and makes an unconscious but profound decision. My feelings are a problem. If I want people to tolerate me, I need to stop having them. This is the core lesson. Emotions are not welcome. They make people uncomfortable. They're too much. So the child learns to suppress, to minimize, to perform being fine even when drowning inside. Research shows children who are consistently emotionally invalidated develop alexithymia, difficulty identifying and expressing emotions. They grow up not knowing what they feel, or if they do, not trusting it's legitimate. The emotionally neglected child becomes an adult who can't answer, "How are you feeling?" Not because they're evasive, because they genuinely don't know. The family dynamic. Maya's family looks normal, functional even. Her father works long hours, good provider. When home, he's tired. No bandwidth for emotional needs. When Maya's upset, he offers solutions instead of comfort. If kids are mean, just ignore them. Don't let it bother you. Her mother is overwhelmed. Her own job, household management, her own unprocessed trauma. When Maya cries, her instinct is to shut it down quickly. "Stop crying. It's not that big a deal. You're being too sensitive." Neither parent is intentionally cruel. They're operating from their own limitations. They don't have emotional tools to meet Maya's needs because nobody met theirs. This is how emotional neglect becomes generational. Not through malice, through absence, through not knowing what you don't know. Dr. Dan Siegel's work shows children need emotions to be seen, soothed, and safe. When a child feels fear, they need acknowledgement. "I see you're scared. Help regulating. Let's breathe together." And safety. "You're safe. I'm here." When this doesn't happen, the child's nervous system stays dysregulated. They don't learn to calm themselves. Don't develop emotional resilience. Instead, they learn emotions are dangerous and must be avoided. The compensatory masks. Maya is 12. Like many neglected children, she's developed masks. The achiever. Perfect grades. Every assignment done early. Because if she can't get emotional validation, maybe achievement will finally make someone see her. But achievement-based validation is hollow. Straight A's don't fill the emotional void. The helper. The friend everyone turns to. Always available. Always supportive. Remarkably empathetic. Because she knows invisibility, she makes sure others feel seen. but she never talks about her own struggles. Her emotions are a burden. The minimizer. When asked how she's doing, always fine, even when she's not. Especially when she's not. Because admitting struggle makes people uncomfortable. Expressing need makes them pull away. All three masks serve the same purpose: getting through life without requiring emotional support. Because emotional support has been coded as unreliable, unavailable, unwelcome. The biological impact. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child shows chronic stress in childhood, including consistently invalidated emotions, changes brain architecture. The amygdala becomes hyperactive. Low-grade anxiety, always waiting for dismissal, always bracing for emotional rejection. The hippocampus can shrink. Harder to regulate stress, issues with memory and learning. The prefrontal cortex develops differently. Without emotional co-regulation from caregivers, children don't learn to soothe themselves. The body's stress response gets dysregulated. The HPA axis becomes either overreactive, anxiety, or underreactive, emotional numbness. This isn't just psychological, it's biological. The body keeps the score. The adult Maya. Maya is 29, successful by external measures. Good job, nice apartment, friends, dates, though relationships never last. Inside, Maya feels empty, like going through motions without experiencing life. She knows logically when she should feel happy or sad, but can't quite access those feelings. Like there's thick glass between her and her emotional life. She's dating David. Kind, attentive. He asks how she's feeling, genuinely wants to know. "I'm fine," Maya says automatically. "Are you though? You seem distant lately." Maya wants to tell him that she's been feeling disconnected, work is stressful, she's having nightmares again. But the words won't come. There's a wall between her thoughts and her voice. "I'm just tired. Really, I'm okay." David looks at her, and Maya sees something terrifying: disappointment. He's pulling away because she can't let him in, can't be vulnerable, can't admit she has needs. Later, alone, Maya cries. Not because David is pulling away, though that hurts, but because she realizes she's been alone her entire life. Nobody knows her. How could they? She doesn't let anyone in. And why? Because she learned at 6, standing in her parents' doorway after a nightmare, that her inner world doesn't matter. This is the lonely life of the emotionally neglected child. Not loneliness from lack of people. Loneliness from lack of connection. They can be in relationships, in rooms full of people, and still feel utterly alone. Because true connection requires vulnerability. And vulnerability requires trusting emotions will be met with care, not dismissal. When that trust was broken in childhood, it's almost impossible to rebuild as an adult. The awakening. Something shifts for Maya in therapy, which she started after David suggested it. Her therapist asks, "Maya, when was the last time you cried in front of someone?" Maya thinks, "Can't remember." "I don't know, I don't really cry in front of people." "Why not?" "Because it makes them uncomfortable. Because it's weak. Because nobody wants to deal with it." "Where did you learn that?" Suddenly, Maya is 6 again, in her parents' doorway, scared, needing comfort, being turned away. The tears come. Deep, shaking sobs, years of suppressed emotion breaking through. Her therapist doesn't try to stop her, doesn't minimize, just sits with her, witnesses her pain, validates it. "Of course you were scared. You were a child. You needed comfort, and you didn't get it. That wasn't your fault." This is the beginning. Not realizing her parents were monsters. They weren't. But realizing what happened mattered. that her emotional needs were legitimate, that the dismissal wasn't evidence of being too sensitive, but of their limitations. The neuroscience of healing. The brain is plastic. Even patterns formed in childhood can be rewired. Dr. Rick Hanson's research shows repeated positive emotional experiences can literally change brain structure. When an emotionally neglected adult has emotions consistently validated, in therapy, in safe relationships, through self-compassion, new neural pathways form. The amygdala can calm. The hippocampus can recover. The prefrontal cortex can develop new regulatory capacities. This doesn't happen overnight. The brain needs repetition. But it's never too late to develop secure attachment. Never too late to learn emotions are safe. Reparenting yourself. Maya starts practicing reparenting. When scared, instead of suppressing it, she pauses, acknowledges the fear. I'm feeling scared right now. Then offers herself what she needed as a child. It's okay to feel scared. Fear is just information. You're safe. When sad, she doesn't dismiss it. Lets herself cry. Sits with sadness. Treats herself with compassion her parents couldn't provide. When joyful, she doesn't minimize it. Lets herself feel it fully. Celebrates. It feels awkward at first, foreign, but her therapist reminds her, you're not performing, you're practicing. Teaching your nervous system emotions are safe. Slowly, something shifts. Maya feels more alive, more present, finally inhabiting her own life instead of watching from a distance. The relationship test. The real test comes with David. They're at dinner. He asks again, "How are you feeling?" Maya's first instinct is, "Fine." But she catches herself, takes a breath. "Honestly, I'm feeling anxious. I've been worried you're pulling away because I'm not good at being open." David's expression softens. "I have been pulling away, not because you're not good at it, but because I can't figure out how to get close to you. It feels like there's a wall." Maya nods, tears forming. There is a wall. I built it when I was 6, and I've been reinforcing it ever since. Can you tell me about it? And for the first time in her life, Maya does. Tells David about nightmares, about standing in her parents' doorway, about learning her emotions were inconvenient, about believing her inner world didn't matter. David listens, doesn't try to fix it, doesn't minimize, just sees her. "Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry that happened, and I'm here now. Your feelings matter to me." Something opens in Maya's chest, not breaking, opening, like a door she didn't know existed. This is healing, not dramatic, just small moments of choosing vulnerability over self-protection, trusting that maybe someone can handle her emotional reality. The generational pattern. Maya is 33, expecting their first child, a daughter, Lily. One night, Maya wakes in a cold sweat. Nightmare, not about monsters, about becoming her parents, about dismissing her daughter's emotions the way hers were dismissed. She talks to her therapist. "What if I can't do it? What if I mess her up the way I was messed up?" The therapist leans forward. "Do you know the difference between you and your parents?" "What?" Awareness. They didn't know what they didn't know. They repeated patterns unconsciously, but you're aware. You've done the work. You know emotional attunement. That awareness is everything. 6 months later, Lily is born. Lily cries, as babies do. And every time she cries, Maya picks her up, soothes her. I know, you're upset. It's okay, I'm here." It's exhausting. There are moments Maya wants to put Lily down and walk away, moments she hears her mother's voice. "Stop crying, you're fine." But she doesn't. She stays, she holds, she validates, because Maya has decided the cycle ends here. Lily will grow up knowing her emotions matter, that she matters, that when she's scared, someone will comfort her. Lily will grow up emotionally literate, emotionally regulated, emotionally whole. Not because Maya is perfect, but because Maya is present. The permission. If you recognize yourself in Maya's story, here's what you need to hear. Your feelings matter. They always mattered. The fact they were dismissed doesn't mean they were invalid. It means the people around you lacked capacity to honor them. You're not too sensitive. You're not too much. You're not broken. You're a person with a rich inner world that was never given the space it deserved. It's not too late. Never too late to learn emotional literacy, to practice self-compassion, to find relationships that validate rather than dismiss, to become the parent to yourself you needed as a child. The empty feeling you've carried, that's not who you are. That's what was done to you. And what was done can be undone. It takes work, courage, willingness to feel things you've spent a lifetime avoiding. But on the other side is something precious, the ability to finally feel alive, to be present, to connect authentically, to know yourself and let yourself be known. Music softens. Maya sits in Lily's nursery. Lily is asleep. Maya watches her breathe. And Maya whispers, "Your feelings will always matter here. You will always be seen. You are enough, exactly as you are." She's talking to Lily, but also to the 6-year-old version of herself, the one who stood in her parents' doorway, the one who needed comfort and didn't receive it. I see you. I'm sorry no one told you this when you needed to hear it, but I'm telling you now, you matter. You always mattered. And somewhere deep in Maya's nervous system, something shifts. A wound open for 27 years finally begins to close. Not because the past changed, but because the present did. 3 children, 1 wound. Marcus, the hated child. Sarah, the quiet child. Maya, the emotionally neglected child. 3 different wounds, but they're connected. All variations on the same fundamental trauma: invisibility. Marcus was invisible because his worth was conditional. Sarah was invisible because her natural way of being didn't match expectations. Maya was invisible because her emotions were dismissed. All 3 learned, I am not enough as I am. But here's the question: can that lesson be unlearned? The neuroscience of change. For decades, scientists believed the brain was fixed, that childhood patterns were permanent. But research obliterated that belief. The brain is neuroplastic. New neural pathways can form. Old patterns can be weakened. The architecture built in childhood can be remodeled in adulthood. Dr. Norman Doidge documents case after case of people who've rewired fundamental brain structures through intentional practice. The key word: intentional. The brain doesn't change automatically. It changes through repeated, consistent, effortful practice. For Marcus, practicing self-worth not based on achievement. Choosing relationships where he's valued for who he is. For Sarah, honoring her need for silence without shame. Finding environments that value depth over speed. For Maya, learning to identify and express emotions. Practicing vulnerability in safe relationships. None of this is easy, but all of it is possible. The attachment revolution. Dr. Mary Main's research on earned secure attachment shows that adults who experienced insecure attachment in childhood can develop security through corrective emotional experiences. What does that mean? Finding relationships, romantic, therapeutic, friendship, where your emotions are consistently validated, your needs are respected, your presence is celebrated, not just tolerated. Mistakes are met with repair, not rejection. Vulnerability is honored, not punished. When you have enough of these experiences, your nervous system recalibrates. The part that expects rejection starts to expect acceptance. The part braced for abandonment relaxes into security. Marcus finds this with Lisa, Sarah in her writing community, Maya in therapy, and with David. These relationships don't erase the past, but they create a new present. And from that new present, a different future becomes possible. The practice of self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff's research offers a roadmap for all three. Self-compassion has three components. 1. Self-kindness. Instead of harsh criticism, treat yourself like a good friend. Marcus. When he makes a mistake, instead of "I'm worthless," he practices, "I'm human. Humans make mistakes. I'm still worthy." 2. Common humanity. Recognize struggle is part of shared human experience. Sarah. She's not broken for being quiet. Billions of introverts exist. Her temperament is normal and shared. 3. Mindfulness. Observe difficult emotions with balance, neither suppressing nor drowning in them. Maya. When sadness arises, instead of shutting it down, she notices, "I'm feeling sad. This is normal. I can sit with it." Self-compassion is more effective than self-esteem because it's unconditional. You don't have to earn it. You deserve it simply because you're human. This is revolutionary for people who learned their worth was conditional. The somatic path. Bessel van der Kolk's "The Body Keeps the Score" demonstrates trauma lives in the body, not just the mind. Healing must be somatic. Breathwork activates the parasympathetic nervous system, moving from fight or flight to rest. Yoga and movement releases trauma stored in the body, reconnects you with physical sensations. Somatic experiencing, therapy focusing on bodily sensations, helping complete frozen stress responses. Safe touch, massage, hugs, weighted blankets can regulate the nervous system. Marcus does morning breathwork. Sarah practices gentle yoga. Maya works with a somatic therapist tracking where emotions live in her body. These aren't magic bullets, but with consistent practice, they work. The creative transformation. When invisible children heal, something emerges. Creativity. The suppressed pain, dismissed observations, invalidated emotions become raw material for creation. Sarah writes her novel. Marcus composes music. Maya paints. Art is integration. It takes fragmented parts and makes them whole, takes the unspeakable and gives it voice. Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." The invisible children have chaos, pain, complexity. When they stop suppressing it, something remarkable emerges. Not just art, but meaning, purpose. A sense that suffering can be transformed into something that helps others. This doesn't make the pain worth it. But it means suffering doesn't have to be the end of the story. The reparenting process. What does reparenting actually look like? For Marcus, challenges the critical voice. That's not my voice. That's what I internalized. My truth. I am enough. Celebrates his own accomplishments, no matter how small. Sets boundaries with people who treat him as conditionally worthy. For Sarah, stops apologizing for needing quiet. Seeks spaces that value contemplation. Practices advocating. I need time to think before responding. For Maya, practices emotional check-ins. How am I feeling right now? Lets herself cry. Lets herself feel joy. Validates herself. It makes sense you feel this way. Your emotions are legitimate. Reparenting isn't becoming a different person. It's becoming the person you were before the world taught you to be someone else. The collective healing. When one person heals, it ripples outward. Marcus becomes a manager who sees each team member, values them for who they are, not just output. Sarah becomes a teacher where quiet students aren't punished for their pace, where depth is valued over speed. Maya raises Lily with emotional attunement. Lily grows up emotionally literate. The cycle is broken. This is how healing spreads. Every person who does inner work makes the world safer for others trying to do the same. The philosophical integration. Jean-Paul Sartre. Man is condemned to be free. We don't choose our childhoods. We don't choose our wounds, but we choose what we do with them. Marcus didn't choose to be the hated child, but he can choose to reject the identity of unworthiness. Sarah didn't choose to be quiet in a loud world, but she can choose to honor her temperament. Maya didn't choose emotional neglect, but she can choose to develop the emotional literacy denied to her. Freedom isn't the absence of conditioning. It's the ability to respond with consciousness rather than automaticity. The wounds create grooves in our psyche. For years, we run in those grooves unconsciously. But awareness creates choice, and choice creates freedom. You can't change what happened, but you can change what happens next. The integration. What Marcus, Sarah, and Maya discover. Healing isn't about becoming different. It's about becoming more fully themselves. Marcus doesn't need to achieve more. He was always worthy, he just needs to believe it. Sarah doesn't need to become louder. She needs the world to quiet down enough to hear her. Maya doesn't need to suppress emotions. She needs to finally feel them. Healing is returning to who you were before the world told you that wasn't enough. And that original self? Still there, buried under layers of adaptation. But not gone. The work is excavation. Removing false selves, masks, compensatory strategies. Digging to bedrock. And when you reach that bedrock, when you meet yourself without distortions, something remarkable happens. You realize you were always whole. The wound wasn't your essence. It was something that happened to your essence. An essence can't be destroyed, only obscured. The invisible children were never actually invisible. They were just unseen. And now, finally, they're learning to see themselves. We started with 3 children in different rooms. Marcus at the dinner table trying to disappear. Sarah at the playground's edge, watching the world spin. Maya in her bedroom, whispering comfort to herself. 3 forms of invisibility. 3 variations of one wound. But we end with 3 adults who learned. Visibility doesn't come from others seeing you. It comes from seeing yourself. Marcus no longer needs his parents to validate him. He validates himself. Sarah no longer needs the world to slow down. She moves at her own pace without apology. Maya no longer needs permission to feel. She honors her emotions as legitimate. This is the transformation, not from broken to fixed, but from unseen to self-known. If you see yourself in these stories, if you were the hated child, the quiet child, the neglected child, or some combination, here's what you need to know. The wound is real. The pain is legitimate. The impact is profound. But the wound is not your identity. The pain is not your destiny. The impact is not irreversible. You are not too much or too little. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are a person who was hurt in childhood. And childhood wounds can heal. It won't happen overnight. It won't happen without effort, but it will happen if you're willing to. See clearly what happened. Grieve what you didn't receive. Choose relationships that honor you. Practice compassion toward yourself. Give yourself what others couldn't. The child you were is still inside you, still waiting, still hoping. And the adult you've become has the power to finally give that child what they always needed: to be seen, to be valued, to be told they matter. You do matter. You always mattered. Not because of what you achieve, not because of how loud or quiet you are, not because of how well you suppress emotions. You matter because you exist, and that has always been enough. The invisible children grow up, but they don't have to stay invisible. They just need someone to look closely enough to see them. And if no one else will, they can look in the mirror and finally see themselves. Clearly, compassionately, completely. Because the greatest tragedy isn't being unseen by others. It's living your entire life unseen by yourself. But that tragedy doesn't have to be your story. You can write a different ending. You can choose visibility. You can choose wholeness. You can choose yourself. And when you do, everything changes. The wound becomes wisdom. The pain becomes purpose. The invisibility becomes insight. And the child who once sat alone, unseen, unheard, unvalued, finally gets to come home. Welcome home.